Welcome to the final week of term 2 at Precise Pilates Online. We're going to be doing a whole body workout using the chi ball today. So have your ball close at hand and have it fully inflated. We're going to start standing upright, warming up through the spine. Feet are hip width, knees are soft. The ball is placed between your palm and your thumb, and you're going to relax your shoulders down. Float the sternum, take a nice soft breath in, and on the exhale, connect to T-zone. We're going to start with standing side bend. So we're going to sweep the arm on up directly over the shoulder. The shoulder blade glides down from the ear. Keep your hand on your pelvis and exhale, reach the arm over into a side bend. Good. Inhale, bring the chest back over the hips upright, shoulders down. Exhale into the side bend and inhale upright. Good. Now we're moving into this lateral flexion, which is that side to side base movement without skewing our pelvis. So we want to keep our hips level and get the stretch from the hip bone up to the armpit. Good. If you're comfortable, you can stay and continue this side bend for 5 reps. I'm going to take it into a sideways rotation. So exhale into side bend. Now here we have the opening of rib, armpit to hip bone. Take a deep breath in, place this hand on your thigh. You're going to sweep the arm down, coming into a little bit of flexion of the spine. Take a deep breath in, looking at your heels, and then exhale, stack the vertebrae and lift yourself tall. Float the sternum once more. Exhale, float the arm on up and over into side bend. Let this hand wander down towards the side of your knee. Good. Inhale. Sweep the body to center, coming into a little bit of flexion of the spine, curled over, looking down at your heels. And then exhale, scooping through the belly, lift yourself on upright. Good. Exhale and side bend. Reaching down to the side of the knee, opening up through the side of the body. A deep breath in, you're going to sweep the arm down and towards the feet. Good. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, scoop the belly, roll upright. Good. Exhale. Side bend. Beautiful. Inhale, we're going to sweep the arm down, rounding through the back. Good. Exhale, scoop and lift. Let's do one more. Exhale and side bend. Good. Inhale, sweep to the center. Let your head hang. Scooping through the belly. Exhale, stack the vertebrae upright. Good. Let's take it to the other side, ball in the palm. A nice deep breath in, keeping the transverse abdominal on. Good. Arm sweeps on up, shoulder down from the earlobe. Hand on your pelvis. We're going to exhale, reach on over, keeping knees soft. Inhale, bring the hand back over the pelvis. Rib cage over the hips. Keep those hips level as you exhale, come into your side bend. Remember, it's opening of rib to armpit. We're not trying to skew the pelvis in any way. Exhale our side bend. You can creep down the side of the thigh with this opposite arm and inhale upright. If you're happy, you can do 5 more of these. We're going to take it into that nice sunrise. Exhale, side bend, reaching over the body. Keep the hips level, soft knees. As you inhale, let your head hang gently from the neck. Sweep the hand towards the feet. Good. Looking at your heels. Exhale, scoop the belly. Lift the vertebrae upright one at a time. Keep that transverse abdominal on. Good. Exhale into side bend. Inhale, drop the chin to the chest, roll the hand towards the feet, coming into this rounded forward fold. Scooping through the belly, exhale, lift the vertebrae one at a time. Good. Arm up, exhale, side bend. Good. Inhale, sweep the hand towards the feet, let the arms and head hang. Looking at your heels, exhale, scoop the belly upright. One more. Into the side bend, exhale, creeping the hand down to the side of the knee. Good. Keeping the hips level, softening the knees. Inhale, sweep the hand towards the center. Scooping the belly. Exhale, roll your vertebrae one at a time upright. Lift the sternum. Beautiful. We're going to go into rolling, but you may go into your hugger tree if you prefer. Placing the ball now between both palms. Knees are soft. We're back in that nice standing posture. We're going to do a little bit of imagination through the ball. So I want you to switch on to the T-zone and take a nice deep breath in. Squeezing the ball lightly between your palms, drawing your shoulder blades down. You're going to exhale as the arms reach on up into arm prep. The ribs are sinking in and down towards the hip bones, shoulders away from those ears. Glance up at that circumference of the ball. Bring the ball towards your chest. Inhale, drop your chin and look deeply into it here. Now, as you exhale, we're going to roll the ball down the center line, dropping the ribs towards the hips. Feel the transverse band switch on a little bit deeper. As the ball drops off your pubic bone, you're going to exhale, round yourself forwards and follow the ball down between your heels. Take a nice deep breath in, the knees could still be soft. Pushing through the heels, imagine the ball is heavy. Exhale, scoop the heavy weight back up to the shelf of your pubic bone. And then as you exhale, using that belly, lift yourself upright, rolling the ball back to your sternum. Place the ball out in front. Exhale, we come into the arm prep. Shoulders gliding down, ribs towards the hips. Glancing up lightly at the ball, place the ball on your sternum, take a deep breath in. As you exhale, melt the ribs towards the hips, scooping through the belly as we roll the ball down to the pubic bone. As the ball drops off that pubic shelf, we're going to exhale, imagine it weighs 50 pounds and it's drawing you down towards your mat. Let your head hang loose from the neck. Take a deep breath in at the bottom. Pushing through your heels to switch on your legs. Exhale, scooping through the belly to lift the heavy weight back up to your pubic bone. And then exhaling as you roll the ball up to the sternum, stacking the vertebrae tall. Float the sternum, inhale. Place the ball out in front, exhale for the arm prep. Good, ribs want to draw towards the hips. Look up at the ball, inhale, place it on the sternum, drop your chin to your chest. Exhale, roll the ball down towards the pubic bone, ribs drawing towards the hip bones as you round yourself forwards. Exhale as the heavy ball drops down between your legs. Really think about switching on that belly a little bit more. Take a breath in at the bottom. Pushing through the heels, exhale, scoop through the belly to lift the heavy weight on up and roll the ball along the sternum, lifting the chin, taking your breath in here. Let's do two. Arms out in front. Squeezing the ball lightly between your palms, we're going to exhale into arm prep, ribs drawing in and down. Looking at the ball, inhale, place it on the sternum, dropping the chin to chest. Exhale, roll the ball down, ribs towards hips, sinking forwards and down, ball to pubic bone. Exhale, rounding the spine forwards and down, allowing the weight of the ball to gently draw you towards your mat. A breath in at the bottom. Exhale, lift, using those abdominals. And then exhale, roll the vertebrae upright one at a time. Last one, inhale, float the sternum. Arms out in front, squeeze the ball lightly. Exhale into arm prep. Inhale, ball to the sternum, look at that ball, chin to chest. Exhale, roll the ball down towards the pubic bone, ribs to hips. Prepare the heavy weight, exhale as it rolls off that shelf and draws you towards the mat. Take a nice deep breath in here. Exhale, lift the heavy weight of the ball back to your pubic bone using those abdominals and legs. And then exhale, roll the ball to the sternum. Float the sternum and take your breath in. Beautiful. We're going to take it down onto the mat into supine. You can come down any way you choose. Rolling is preferred, particularly as we're trying to warm up the spine. Come down, placing yourself on the mat. Keep the ball fully inflated. You may choose to take some air out at a later time. We're going to pop the ball between the tailbone and the mat. Tuck it in nice and tightly. Bring your hands to the mat, walk your heels back towards you, and begin to roll yourself over the ball. Now the ball is not in your lower back, so make sure you can thread your arm, possibly your palm or your fingers in that lower back. You want to make sure there's space between you and the mat. You equally should have both butt cheeks floating from the mat here. So make sure you just have a little play and make sure both lumbar spine and glutes are floating. Your ball is centered underneath your pelvis. You can realign your heels and your feet and have a little moment to really switch on and feel that you are on an unstable surface. You're never fully switched off when you're floating on the ball, but we want conscious effort into pelvic floor connection and T-zone, so we'll start here. As we inhale to lift the pelvic floor, drop the shoulders from the ears and melt them into the mat. Exhale, focus on that abdominal connection, flattening the abdominals from hip bone to hip bone in front. Beautiful. From this position, we're going to start with our leg slides, nice and simple. Keeping one foot placed on the mat, we're going to slide one leg on out, exhale as it feels its way along the mat. Try to keep the hip bones level. Inhale, slide the leg on in. Exhale, leg slide. Good, and inhale, slide the leg on in. Take your time, feel your way with the material of your sock along your mat. Exhale, leg slide. Inhale, leg slides in. Good. So you're really preparing to keep the spine in a neutral setting, and you're keeping the abdominals switched on. Take your time with your leg slides. For those of you that feel confident, you can turn it into your lift foot. We're going to exhale, lift one foot from the mat, knee above your hip bone. Keep your pelvis level. Inhale, place it down, change sides. Exhale. Use the abdominals to lift the weight of the foot from the mat. Inhale, place it down. You can lightly press it into the mat if you have trouble keeping your pelvis steady. Shoulders are not creeping up. We exhale to lift the foot and inhale to lower. Beautiful. Keep it going. Let's do 2 on each side. So we've got our lift foot working here, a little bit deeper into that abdominal connection. Last one. Wonderful. Let's place the foot down. We're going to do a little mobility, so we'll do some pelvic clocks. On your torso, I want you to imagine a clock face, your sternum being 12, your pubic bone being 6, and each hip bone is 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. You've got your clock face, and I now want you to think about moving your hips. So, with your transverse connection on, we're going to exhale, lift your right hip up towards 12 as you drop your left hip down towards 6. Think about taking that skewed pelvis here in this exercise, and then inhale, bring the hips back level. So on an exhale, we're using some pressure through our feet and our shoulders to lift the right hip up towards 12, left hip towards 6, and inhale to center. Have a go here, trying to manipulate the placement of your pelvis using your QLs at the base of your lumbar spine. Good. Use the pressure for your feet here. We're going to take it to the other side next. So come back to pelvis level, stay switched on. This time as you exhale, you lift your left hip up towards 12, right hip down to 6. Inhale to center. This may feel a little bit differently from your previous side. It might be a little bit tighter. Concentrate on lifting the left hip up as you drop the right hip down, manipulating that placement of your pelvis, and then inhale back to center. I find that this side is a little bit tighter than my dominant right-hand side. My QLs obviously need a little bit of attention outside of class and stretching. Let's make this our last one. Come back to center. Beautiful. Bring your heels a little bit closer to your buttocks, arms by your side. Let's do a little bit of pelvic curl. So, if you need, take the time to rest and switch off, making sure you switch back on before you begin with a big breath in. We're going to drop our pelvis back as if we're releasing the lumbar spine towards the mat. It won't touch because the ball is lifted that lumbar spine off. We're going to squeeze our glutes here, press into the heels. Exhale as we lift the weight of the pelvis from the ball first. The ball springs back up and pushes you away as you roll through the lumbar spine and mid-back onto the shoulders. Take a breath in. Really feel your glutes and your hammies on. Try not to let your knees turn outwards. Now we're going to exhale down and find our way back, releasing the upper back towards the mat first. If you find the ball a little bit early, don't dump your weight down. Still think about rolling through the upper back, the mid-back, the lower back, shifting your weight back onto the ball very gently and inhaling to neutral. Try again. On the exhale, tilt the pelvis back, lumbar spine moving towards the mat. Squeezing the glutes, exhale, pushing into the heels, lifting your weight off the ball, and then rolling through the mid-back up to the shoulders. Inhale at the top, and then exhale, roll down slowly, finding your way, each vertebrae back to the mat. Don't dump the weight into the ball. Good. Inhale, come back to neutral. Let's do 2. Tilt the pelvis back, squeeze the glutes, press into the heels, exhale, lift the pelvis first. The mid-back onto the shoulders, take a nice deep breath in. Glutes, hammies on, keep the knees from moving out. Exhale, roll down slow. Upper back, mid-back, lumbar spine, pelvis. Inhale, let's do our final one of these. Tilt the pelvis back. Release the shoulders, try not to struggle around that neck. Make sure you're squeezing your glutes, driving into your feet to switch on that hamstring and posterior chain. A deep breath in at the top. Good. Release the upper back, the rib cage, exhaling, the mid-back, the lumbar spine towards the mat, then the pelvis. Inhale, come back to neutral. Beautiful. Have a little moment's rest. We're going to move on next. From the next exercise, we're going to look at our toe taps. This can be single or double leg tabletop variations as you choose. Arms by your side, relax the shoulders. From this position, switching back on pelvic floor and abdominals, and then exhale, lift the foot from the mat. Now, if you're going into this exercise single leg, you can exhale to tap the toe, drawing the ribs towards the hips. Inhale to bring the knee back over your pelvis. Here's your single leg toe tap variation, 10 on each leg. If you're moving into double leg tabletop and you haven't yet primed this connection, stick with the single leg variation. If you'd like to test, bring your arms to the mat, splay out your fingers, draw your shoulder blades down, and try and lift the second foot off. Good. You can alternate your toe taps in double leg tabletop. Working on a full ball is much more challenging than a half inflated or a quarter inflated ball. Of course, you could take the ball away completely, but still recognize the exhale where you tap the toe is drawing your ribs towards your hip bones, flattening through those abdominals, and inhaling to bring the knee back over the pelvis. Good. Well done. Keep that connection of your arms resting by your side. Splay your fingertips. Draw your shoulder blades into the mat. Exhale to tap the toe. Ribs drawing towards hips in front, flattening abdominals. Inhale, knee back over pelvis. Now, I know that I'm talking and it looks like I'm not struggling, but actually this is quite challenging to keep one leg still. Let's do our final one on each side. Good. Now, if you're in double leg tabletop, don't just dump the feet down. Bring the feet down one at a time. You can switch off the transverse abdominis, but the pelvic floor will still have a small amount on the ball. Let's take it into the upper body before we come back to those abdominals and lower body. I'm moving myself down away from my couch. Sorry, I look like some caterpillar. We're going to go into arm prep. So again, make sure that you have a level pelvis. You've switched on pelvic floor and abdominals, and then float the hands over your chest. Now, shoulder blades draw away from those ears. Keeping your pelvis level, exhale as we reach the arms overhead, sinking ribs towards the hips. Drawing the shoulder blades down. Inhale, hands over chest. Good, exhale to reach. And inhale, hands over chest. Keep it going. Exhale for the arm prep, sinking ribs in and down. Inhale, hands over chest. Good, exhale. And inhale. Lovely, exhale. And inhale. Let's move into a circular motion. As we exhale, reach overhead, ribs sink in and down. Sweep the arms wide towards the hip bones. And then inhale, hands over chest. As you exhale, reach, ribs towards hips, shoulder blades down your back. Sweep the arms wide towards the hip bones. Inhale, hands over chest. Good, let's do 3. Let's do 2. And let's do 1. Beautiful. From this point, keep the arms extended over the chest. Think about drawing the shoulder blades back into the mat. And think about keeping those arms directly in line with your armpit. Stay switched on if possible, and let's bring one foot up into tabletop and hold. Take a nice soft breath in and out, and recognize the abdominals are working extra hard in this position. Now, I want you to think about going into your arm prep positioning and tapping your toe in single leg tabletop. You're going to exhale as you reach the arms overhead, bringing the toe down towards the mat, the ribs sinking in and down towards the hip bones. Inhale, hands over chest. Try not to strain around your neck. Lightly tuck the chin to chest if you need. Exhale to come into arm prep and tap toe tap, ribs sinking towards hips, and inhale, hands over chest. Good, exhale, and inhale. Lovely. And beautiful. Exhale, and inhale. Good, exhale, and inhale. You could even turn this into that circle, provided you can keep yourself balanced on the ball. Exhale, arm prep, ribs in and down, toe tap. Sweep the arms wide. Inhale, hands over chest as knee lifts over hip bone. Exhale, circle, inhale, lift. Good, let's do 2 on this side. Last one. Wonderful. At this point, bring the hands down. Bring the knee to the chest to have a small rest. You're still switched on that small amount, especially through pelvic floor on the ball. We're going to take this into single leg circle on this working side. So we're really trying to layer the exercises. Arms are going to come back by your sides. Bring the knee back to tabletop over the hip bone. We're going to manually rotate the whole leg out. You can stick with bent knee, or you could have a straight leg if you'd like. Remember, you're on your ball, so you may have to choose a slightly regressed exercise if you're not feeling your connection. Shoulder blades melt down, keep the turn out from the hip bone to toe. Pushing your supporting leg into the mat. We're going to sweep the leg down and out to the side, exhale, inhale, around and in. Push the base leg into the mat, exhale, sweep the leg down and out to the side, inhale, around and in. Good. Now I'm really focused on keeping a level pelvis, and so my circle is not that large. Try and think about your pelvic stability here. Your connection is really crucial on staying on the ball. For those of you that really think you've got the connection, but you're not sure and you want to test it, float your arms over your chest. Without your arms by your sides, are you able to keep a nice level pelvis? Lightly pressing the supporting leg into the mat. Let's change our direction, bring the foot up to the top of the circle. Keep the turn out from hip to toe. Sweep the leg out to the side and down. Inhale, around and in. Start with a nice small circle, particularly if you've got arms floating from the mat. You could have one arm floating from the mat. You could have no arms floating from the mat if you're trying really hard to keep the pelvis level. Push that supporting base leg lightly into the mat. Don't let the knee turn out. Keep this leg rotated out from the hip bone. Good, let's do 2. Really challenging if you want those arms. And last one. Come back to your leg in tabletop. Bring your arms down. Let's bring the foot down and change sides. Good. So we're going to go back to that arm prep exercise in single leg tabletop. Float the arms over the chest. Think about being switched on through the rib cage and the shoulder girdle, and then bring the leg to tabletop. Now this is not my best side, so I struggle here. I'm going to start just by tapping the toe. This could be exhale, tap the toe, holding the arms over the chest if you need to regress the exercise. Exhale, toe tap, and just hold this shoulder girdle. You could be moving into the exhale, toe tap and arm prep, and inhaling, bringing arms and knee over hip bone. Good, exhale and inhale. Keeping that pelvis level, sinking the ribs to hips as we exhale into arm prep overhead and tap the toe towards the mat. Good. For those of you that want to take it into the circle, remember, exhale, sweep, ribs sinking in and down, toe taps. Sweep the arms wide, inhale, hands over chest, knee over hip bone. Sweep on the exhale and inhale. Good. Keep the shoulder blades melted back into the mat. Think about that upper body stability, working through that pelvic stability here and keeping the abdominals on. Let's do 3 of whatever you're doing. It could just be your toe taps. It could just be your arm prep holding. Last one. Beautiful. Let's bring the arms down by the sides. Bring the knee to chest if you need to rest for a moment. Let's take it into single leg circle. Again, come back to tabletop, knee over hip bone. Manually rotate the thigh out from the hip joint. You can stay with bent knee circle, keeping the knee aligned over the pelvis, or you could straighten out the leg for straight leg circle. Try to keep the leg rotated out. Keep this base leg pushed into the mat. Sweep the leg down and out to the side, exhale. Inhale, around and in. Good, sweep the leg down and out. Exhale, inhale, around and in. Testing that pelvic stability by starting with a nice small circle, making the circle gradually larger if you feel like you want to challenge yourself. Melt the shoulders away from the ears. Again, to test that pelvic stability, extend those arms. If you don't have arms on the mat, you'll need to work a little bit harder to keep your pelvis level and to stop yourself sliding off your ball. Good, push that supporting base leg into the mat. You can see my nose wrinkle because this is not my best side. Good. Keep the turn out of the leg. Let's reverse our circle. Come back to the top. Check the leg is turned out. You can take the leg out to the side and down. Exhale, inhale and round it in. Try to draw the femur into the hip joint. Drawing a smaller circle if you've got any popping or clicking. Or coming back to bent knee, you may need to regress your lever. This straight leg might be too much for your hip flexor, iliacus. Again, you can have straight extended arms or one arm if you're drawing your circle and you want more challenge. Keep the shoulders melted back. Let's draw 3, 2, and 1. Good, let's come back to tabletop, arms by your side. Let's bring the foot down and have a rest. Beautiful. So there's one more challenge I'd like you to think about for those of you that are looking at being up in double leg tabletop. If you don't want to, you can come back to lift and extend. That would be a really nice exercise, 10 on each side, to do as an alternate here. And then repeat your arm prep if you'd like, or arm prep circles for 10. I'm going to come up onto a full ball in double leg tabletop. Now, for those of you that want to do this with me, make sure you're switched on for your first exhale, lifting knee above pelvis. Shoulders melting back, arms by your side, fingers splayed out. Think about exhale, drawing your belly button towards the ball. Not your pelvis, but the abdominals are flattening. And you exhale, peel your second foot off the mat. Try to keep your balance, bring the knees together if it helps, or keep a little part for challenge. Now, while you find your balance here, it may also help you to prepare the arms to float. You can float the lower arm, elbow to fingertip off the mat. You could try one arm and then add the second arm. If you find your balance here, beautiful. Try to extend one arm fully towards the ceiling, staying on that ball, abdominals switched on. If you found your 3 limbs are disconnected from the mat, try and extend the 4th. From this point, you could stay, breathe and hold, just really counting up to 10 breaths before coming down, or we can alternate our arm prep, toe tap into dead bugs. So let's start with left foot, right arm. So we're going to exhale as we come into arm prep and extend the leg, just at 45. Then we're going to inhale, come back to the center line. Taking it to the opposite side, we're going to exhale, extend the arm overhead, ribs sinking towards the hip bone, leg lowering only to 45. Inhale, come back to the center line. Changing, exhale, ribs sink in and down. Good, inhale, come back in. Good, this is your full level of dead bug. Working really hard to keep yourself on the ball. It could just be this level of dead bug, just the legs in extension. It could be just the legs themselves. Or you could just be here breathing and holding. Good. Whatever level you're working at, let's do 2 on each side. Good, let's make this our last one. We'll come back to the hold. So if you're holding and breathing, good, keep the knee alignment over your pelvis. Let's try and take these arms into that arm prep circle or arm prep. I'm going to reach overhead, exhale, ribs sinking in and down. And I'm going to sweep the arms wide down towards the hip bones. Inhale, hands over chest. Good, exhale, sweep, shoulders away from your ears, ribs to hips. Sweep the arms wide, hands towards hip bones. Inhale, hands over chest. I've got a little part between my knees to make it more challenging, and I'm on a full ball, but you may choose to squeeze your knees together to give you a little bit more pelvic stability. Try not to lose that connection as you reach overhead of your ribs sinking towards your hip bones. You really want that lovely feeling of the upper body switching on those obliques to keep you on the ball. Good, let's do 2. And 1. From this point, let's reverse. Let's bring one arm down from the elbow to the armpit, the second arm. Stay switched on, bring the full arm down. And then the second arm. Bring one foot down, and the second foot, and have a little break. Squeeze your inner thighs together, roll onto your side, pop yourself off the ball, and then place the ball in your VMO. Let's do a little bit of pendulum before we move on. So, you can keep feet on the mat. You may find that your lumbar spine's a little bit closer to the mat now, and it may help you coming up into double leg tabletop. We're going to bring our arms out wide from the chest, palm facing up, shoulders melt back. Try not to create too much tension across your neck joint. Keep a little tuck of chin to chest. Bring your feet together. Now, if you're coming up into tabletop, switch on and bring one foot up at a time. It may help you to pop the ball out. I'm able to do this with the ball still in the BMO. You want your feet, to be together, a little part, just holding the ball between your knees. We're going to inhale as both legs roll over one side of the body, keeping the shoulders melted back onto the mat, head fixed to the ceiling. Squeeze the ball to burst, exhale, scoop in through T-zone, bring the legs back to center, release the squeeze in the middle. Inhale the legs over one side of the body. Squeeze to burst, exhale, scoop through T-zone, legs to center. Inhale, legs over. Squeeze, exhale, come back to center. Now, for those of you that like pendulum and are in double leg tabletop, you may want to try coming into double leg extension or single leg if you choose. The single leg option is inhale the legs over, squeeze the knees together, extend the top leg from knee to toe. Squeeze to burst the ball through the inner thigh knee connection, sweep the toe back to the ceiling, come back to tabletop in the middle. Inhale the legs over, squeeze the knees, extend the top leg, exhale, scoop and squeeze back to center. Some of you may like to try double leg extension, pressing your heels together, squeezing through heels and the ball to return to center, scooping the T-zone. Inhaling the legs over, squeezing feet, heels, knees, extension. Squeeze to burst the ball, scoop out the T-zone, come back to center, replace the tabletop. The double leg extension variation of this exercise may require you to limit your range of rotation of legs over the body, because you may find the shoulder lifts as you take the legs into extension. We're going to do 2 on each side. Inhale the legs over. Extension, if you choose, single or double leg. Squeeze the heels, the inner thighs, the ball to burst, scooping the T-zone to center. Good, let's make this our last one. Last one. Return yourself to tabletop, 1 foot down at a time. Keep the ball in the VMO and then roll onto your side into side lying. Now, if you need a pillow to realign your head or neck, make sure you pop it underneath the ear here. Bring this bottom arm straight out from the chest, palm facing up, and pop your top palm on top. Keep the ball in the VMO for now. We want to find the bottom waist, so let's push the top hip bone down and gently roll it forward to create that bottom waist gap, lifting the obliques. Let's go into thoracic rotation. So we're going to sweep the top arm forwards, inhale. Now I want you to lightly squeeze the ball to switch on the transverse band, abdominals across your hips. Keep the top hip bone facing forwards. As you exhale, bring your palm towards the ceiling. Sweep the palm behind you, stretching open the chest from fingertip to fingertip. Keeping the top hip bone forwards, the bottom waistline lifted. Inhale, hand to the ceiling. Exhale, close palm to palm. Good, inhale, reach. Keep the top hip bone here. Exhale, palm to the ceiling. Push the palm behind you, stretch your chest, keeping the top hip bone forwards. Inhale, palm to the ceiling. Exhale, close. Good. Inhale, reach. Exhale, palm to the ceiling. Push the palm behind you, open up your chest. Keep your top hip bone forwards. Inhale, hand to the ceiling. Close. Let's do our final one. Reach. Inhale. Exhale, fingertips to the ceiling. Push the palm behind you, keep the top hip bone facing forwards. Come into that lovely chest stretch through the thoracic back. Inhale, hand to the ceiling. Exhale, close palm to palm and have a little rest. Beautiful. Push yourself up onto your side. Pop the ball now between your ankles, not your heels, your ankle bones. We're going to go into a series of clams. So we're going to lay ourselves down on our side lying. Find the bottom waist. Make sure the top hip bones gently roll towards me. Good. Now with the ball already lightly pressed between your ankle bones, you'll start to feel the switch on of your transverse band. Make sure you've got that sensation of flattening abdominals. And then squeezing the ball, exhale, open up for clam 1. Inhale to close, keeping the top hip bone facing forwards. Try not to move the ball around. Try and keep the ball as steady as possible. Squeeze to burst the ball, exhale to open clam 1. Inhale to close. Good. Squeeze, exhale, and inhale. Beautiful, you're doing really well. Try not to lose the bottom waist. Try to think about keeping this top hip bone pressing down, lifting up through that bottom oblique connection. Good, squeeze, exhale, and inhale. Good, 3 more. We're doing a set of 10 of each clam 1 and clam 2. Beautiful, let's do 1 more. Squeeze, exhale, open up the clam. You should be feeling glute medius. Keeping your connection, your bottom waist lifted, let's float the feet at hip height. Press the ball to burst, exhale, open up, clam 2. Inhale to close. Now we want to keep the top hip bone elongating down to lift the bottom waist up, particularly as both feet are floating from the mat. If you find you lose that bottom waist connection, come back to your clam 1 for 10 more. Squeezing to burst the ball, switching on glute minimus off the bottom leg. The top leg is still working at glute medius. So try to press and burst the ball, exhaling to open, inhaling to close. Good, let's do 4. Squeeze, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful, let's bring the knees together and then replace the feet on the mat. Good, let's shoot 2 legs out long for double leg lift. I just need to move myself away from my fire. Making sure you can see your toes, look down. You should be able to see them just in front of you. Keep that top hip bone rolled forwards, hand on the mat for balance. Shoulder blade down. Switch on manually, inhaling pelvic floor, exhale T-zone. Good. Now I want you to lengthen your legs away from your hip bones. Think about pointing out through your toes as you reach out. Good. From this point, we're going to squeeze to burst the ball. Exhale, lift those legs. Inhale to lower. Squeeze to burst, exhale, double leg lift, and inhale to lower. Top hip bone, exhale, lifts up into the top rib cage, and you're shortening the top waistline. Some of you may like to try placing your hand on your thigh and not using this hand for balance. Good. We're halfway. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold this last double leg lift. Place that top hand on the top thigh if possible. You could just count and breathe into your hollow hold. Some of you may like to try doing a little bit of scissoring through the feet. Breathing in and out gently, keeping the top hip bone into the top rib cage, and gently fluttering through your feet to roll the ball over your ankle bones. Good. Now you're keeping your pelvis steady. It's just the legs that are rotating from the hip joint below the waist. Good. Keep that double leg lift. Let's do 2 and 1 more. Good. Let's bring the legs back to the mat. Let's release the top waistline and bend the knees back to 45. Beautiful. Have a little rest. Push yourself up. Let's change sides. So I'm going to flip on to the other side. Again, placing the ball between the ankle bones. Bring yourself down into side lying. Remembering we're starting with our, it should be up in the VMO. We're starting with thoracic rotation. So up between the thighs, not in the groin and not on the knees. Place that bottom palm outstretched from the chest, top palm on top. Find the bottom waist, roll the top hip forwards. A little press through the VMO to switch on those transverse abdominals. And then begin, inhale, reach the top palm forwards. Exhale, bring the palm towards the ceiling, keeping the bottom waist lifted. Push the top palm back, stretch the chest. Keep that top hip bone from rotating. Inhale, hand to the ceiling. Exhale, close palm to palm. Good, inhale, reach. Exhale, fingertips to the ceiling. Good, exhale, push the palm behind you, stretch the chest. Good, inhale, fingertips to the ceiling. Exhale, close palm to palm. Try and think about lifting the bottom waist, particularly as you rotate this arm back. We want to keep a neutral spine, and we want the rotation to be in your upper thoracic back to get your chest stretch. Let's do one more. Reach the top arm forwards, keep the top hip bone here, a light press of the ball. Fingertips to the ceiling. Exhale, push the palm behind you, stretch the chest. Inhale, fingertips to the ceiling. Exhale, close palm to palm. Beautiful. Bring yourself up into your side and reposition the ball now between those ankle bones for your clam series. Bring yourself down to side lying. Find the bottom waist. Roll the top hip forwards. Remember that we're switching on the transverse band as we squeeze the ball. Now we're going to exhale, open up clam one, keeping the top hip bone forwards. Have your hand lightly pressed on the top hip. Squeeze the ball to burst to switch on glute medius. Exhale, open clam. Good, inhale to close. Remember, you're keeping the bottom waistline lifted. We're trying not to drop down into an irregular spinal shape. So keep that top waistline elongating down. Press, exhale, open, and inhale, close. Good. Make sure you're checking that you feel your glutes are switching on too. We've got 4. Press, exhale, 3. Inhale, close. Last one. From this point, we're going to stay switched on and float the legs, feet off the mat into clam 2. Keep this bottom thigh resting down. Squeeze to burst the ball once more. Exhale, open clam 2. And inhale to close, keeping the ball steady. Squeeze, exhale, clam 2 opens. Inhale, close. The bottom waistline is still lifted, so you're still elongating the top waist down. Try not to drop the bottom waist, particularly when both feet are off the mat here. If you're struggling to keep the bottom waist up, please come back to your clam 1. Try to keep that press of heels into the ball nice and still. So you switch on glute minimus and glute medius. Good, we've got 4. Excellent, keep it going. 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Bring the knees back together, rest the feet down, have a little break. Shoot both legs out long for double leg lift, remembering that we want to see the toes, so we want to bring the feet just in front of the body line. Top hip bone forwards, manually switching on pelvic floor and T-zone. Hand in front for balance. You want to elongate the legs, making sure that you can float that bottom foot from the mat. Now pressing the ball to burst and squeezing the inner thighs. Exhale, double leg lift, and inhale to lower. Exhale, squeeze, bursting the ball, drawing the top hip up into the top rib cage. Some of you may like to try doing this in balance by bringing that palm that's resting on the mat to rest on the top thigh. This will be a real test of you staying on your side lying balance, so don't roll back. Keep that top hip bone rolled forwards. Good. Keep this ear resting on that bottom forearm. Try not to strain through the shoulders or the neck. Exhale, squeeze to burst the ball and the inner thighs to lift the legs and the top hip bone into the top rib cage. 3 more. 2. And let's do this final one and hold in balance. If you can, try and peel the fingers off and rest it on the top thigh. Those of you that are already in balance, keep the top hip bone drawing up into the top rib cage and begin to scissor the feet, breathing in and out gently. Now you're rolling the ball across the ankle bones, breathing out and in, keeping that nice sensation of your top waistline drawn in. Good. Keep breathing in and out gently. Those of you that are holding in balance, whenever you need to come back to the mat, come back to the mat. Let's do 2 more. And 1. Let's squeeze the ball to burst. Gently bring the feet back to the mat and bend the legs to 45. Good. From this point, we're going to push ourselves up and come into our 4-point kneeling box. So, transition into 4-point kneeling box. Have your ball close at hand. Beautiful. In 4-point kneeling box, we're going to spend a little bit of time looking at that pelvic stability once more. So all we're going to do is look at our swimming to begin with, possibly taking it into our horse kick variation. You're going to place the ball in one hand. I want you to think about your box trying to stay as equal through the limbs in contact with the mat as possible. Shoulder blades draw down as you inhale, lift the pelvic floor and switch on the transverse band. Now, lightly grabbing the ball in your palm. If you'd like, start with your swimming, exhaling to reach opposite arm and leg out of the box. You can keep the ball connected to the mat and then inhale, glide back in, staying on this one side. Shoulders draw down, glute squeezes as we come into our swimming and inhaling. Those of you that are wanting to, as you exhale, you could float the ball, squeeze the glute to float the foot from the mat, drawing the shoulder blades down. Inhale, come back into the center. You don't have to touch the ball down completely. Exhale to reach the ball on out and inhale to glide back on in. Good. Some of you may even want to exhale, reach, sweep the arm down towards the side of the buttocks, coming into our breaststroke prep, bringing the knee back into the center line, inhale, tapping the ball on the kneecap. Exhale into swimming arm and leg, squeezing the glute, drawing the shoulder blade down. Sweep the arm down towards the thigh, squeeze the armpit shut. Inhale, tap the ball on the knee as the knee draws towards chest. Extend, sweep, exhale, squeezing. Inhale, extension, exhale, draw that arm down towards the thigh. Inhale to center. Good, let's do 2 more. Exhale. Good, come back to your box, rest your ball down. You can ball your buttocks back towards your heels and have a little rest in your child's pose before we repeat that on the other side. So you could stick with your swimming. You could stick with just the floating of the hand and the foot from the mat. Or you can move into breaststroke, prep, horse kick variation. We're going to come back up to the box. I'm being really mean. All these exercises are very challenging on your coordination. But hey ho. Remember to align yourself to your box, hands under the shoulders, knees under the hip bones, and take the time to switch on adequately, drawing the shoulder blades down. Placing the ball in the opposite palm, we're starting with swimming arm and leg. So keep your limbs that are remaining in contact on your mat balanced, so don't skew off to one side. Good, from this point, we're going to reach the arm on out, exhale as we reach the opposite leg out of the box. You could stay connected to the mat, inhale, glide back on in. Some of you, again, will just be working on squeezing the glute into extension, drawing the shoulder blade down to lengthen the arm. If you're moving into that leg, arm and float, really be prepared to keep this one supporting arm and knee in that nice balanced box position. Don't sway out to the side. Some of you, exhale to reach, squeezing glute, drawing shoulder blade down. We'll be moving into your horse kick swimming arm variation. Really think about exhale, extension, arm and leg. Sweep the arm down towards the hip, squeezing the armpit shut. Inhale, knee comes back to center line to tap the knee. Exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. I'm working really hard on this side, which is not that balanced, to try and keep my shoulder blades down away from my ears and to keep my pelvis in balance as I kick my couch. Good. Let's do 3. And 2. And 1. Come back to 4-point kneeling box. Draw your buttocks back towards your heels. Take your time out. You can reach your fingertips forwards at this point. Sink your head down towards the mat. Pull your buttocks back down and have a little child's prayer if you choose. Take as much rest as you need before we move on. We're going to do a little bit of thread the needle to open up the back and then we're going to work on our prone exercises before we move back to supine to finish. So thread the needle is a lovely shoulder stretch. We did chest stretch, so come back up to the box, place the ball back in your palm. We're just going to go for 4 on each side. So try and think about keeping your shoulders gliding down and keeping your pelvis level. Switching on to the T-zone, squeeze the ball in your palm and take it outstretched from the chest. Turn your eye line to look at the ball, push the ball behind you, think about drawing the shoulder blade closed. Then start to sweep the arm underneath you, inhale, it's going to thread through the supporting arm, and as you exhale, bend that supporting elbow and draw your shoulder towards the mat. Try and look out underneath your elbow. Good, inhale, unthread the arm, take it back out to the side, look at that thumb, exhale, push the palm behind you. Inhale, sweep the arm in and through, exhale, bending the elbow, drawing the shoulder down to the mat. Good, 2 more, inhale, unthread out to the side. Eye on that ball, push the palm behind you, exhale. Inhale, thread the ball under and through, exhale, drawing the shoulder blade down. Last one, inhale, out to the side. Eye on the ball. Exhale, inhale, thread through. As you exhale to draw the shoulder blade down, just try and draw the side of your ear into the mat. Breathe in and out nice and deeply for 2. And 1. Let's unthread, take it to the opposite side. So remembering, we're only moving through rotation as much as feel comfortable. We want our T-zone to support and keep the pelvis as level as we can. Let's take the ball out to the side, shoulder blade down. Look at the ball here. Exhale, push the palm behind you, squeezing the shoulder blade closed. Inhale, sweep the arm under. As you thread it through, exhale, draw the shoulder blade down towards the mat. Bend the supporting elbow. Inhale, unthread, arm out to the side. Eye on the ball, exhale, push the palm behind you. Making sure you're following the ball with your eyes. Inhale, it threads underneath your chest, through the supporting armpit. Exhale, draw the shoulder blade down. Good, inhale, unthread out to the side. Let's do our final 2. Push the arm back, exhale. Inhale, thread it under. Exhale, slide it through. Good, draw the shoulder blade down. Inhale, our last one, take it out to the side. Exhale, push the palm back. Inhale, thread the arm through. Exhale, draw the shoulder blade down. Now sink the side of the ear in towards the mat and breathe in and out deeply for 2. Really draw the shoulder blade into the mat and start to feel that nice posterior shoulder stretch. Last one. Let's unthread, let's come back to box. Good, we're going to lay down onto our stomach and do a little bit of prone work. For those of you that would like, the ball can be positioned under the sternum or underneath the pelvis on your belt line if you need a little bit more of drawing the tailbone down to bring your pelvis more into a neutral setting if you get lower back pain lying on your tummy. I'm going to position the ball under my sternum between me and the mat, and my ball is fully inflated. Now in this position, I almost want to round myself forward to drop myself onto the mat. I want you to try and think about drawing the shoulder blade softly from the ears and floating yourself so you're in a nice neutral spine setting. You've got a nice straight connection or a line from your crown of your head to your shoulder blades. So I'm floating halfway over the ball. Turn your heels out, switch those glutes off. You're going to begin with your hands in stop sign activation. We're going to go in for a little bit of stop sign just for a few reps before we move into swan prep. So with the ball underneath the sternum, don't round the head forwards. Try to think about looking into the mat, but draw the shoulder blades softly down and float yourself halfway on the ball. Switching on, you'll use the mat for feedback. Inhale, lift pelvic floor. Exhale, lift the abdominals off the mat, drawing the 2 hip bones closer together as you flatten those abdominals. Good. Keep looking into the mat with eyes and nose, lightly tucking the chin to chest. Now we're going to begin. Exhale as we glide the shoulder blades down our back, drawing into the waistline beneath the rib cage, elbows gliding down towards the waist. Inhale, hands come back to face height. Try to keep this neck within neutral. If you need to, pop a pillow underneath the forehead to take the weight off of that cervical spine. Keep the T-zone working. Exhale as you glide the shoulder blades down your back, drawing into that waistline beneath the rib cage, elbows gliding down to the waist. Inhale, hands return to face height. Exhale for stop signs. And inhale, hands to face high. Now, for those of you that find this setting quite hard with the ball underneath the sternum, by all means, you could pop the ball out. You don't have to continue. You could come back to your normal stop signs without using the ball for that little bit of lift off the mat. I'm going to do 2 more stop signs, really focusing on that middle fiber of trapezius connection. And on the last one, I'm going to hold it here. Now, I've already got a little head float from the mat. I've already got the connection to T-zone on. I'm going to take a soft breath in and float my palms a paper's width from the mat to go into breaststroke prep. Sweep the fingertips forwards, inhale, don't lift the shoulder up. Draw around the top half of a circle. As you exhale, glide the shoulder blades down your back, drawing the elbows into the waistline, getting that nice connection to the mid-back. Inhale, exhale, glide the shoulder blade down to draw your palm down. Good, inhale and exhale. Now try not to dump your tummy forwards. Try to think about keeping the T-zone working, particularly as you are floating over the ball with the sternum resting on it. It's really, really beneficial for you not to let your pelvis start to tilt forwards with the weight of your lower back. And if that is happening here, take the ball away. Some of you may find that the bigger your circle becomes, the more you want to lift your head from the mat. If that happens and you're coming into a deeper extension, beautiful. But keep looking down the tip of your nose into the mat. Try not to lift your chin. Let's do 2. And 1 more circle. Come back to resting your palms on the mat. Sink your forehead over the ball and rest it onto the mat here and have a lovely release of your neck. We're going to finish with swan prep in this position before we go into lying on our back to finish. I'd like you to use the ball if it suits you. If not, please take it away, come back to normal swan prep. I want you to think about keeping your sternum placed lightly onto the ball. And when you switch on the T-zone, you're looking to have that lovely feedback from the mat that the hip bones are floating on the surface of your mat here. Try not to use your glutes. Let's move into swan prep. We're going to inhale as we roll a glass marble with the tip of our nose towards the edge of the mat line to peel the forehead back into that neutral position you had in stop signs. As you exhale to glide the shoulder blades down your back, I want you to think about lengthening your sternum over the circumference of your ball, drawing the shoulder blades down to bring you into that lovely swan prep extension of the upper back. Inhale, we slowly bring our sternum back onto the surface of the ball and look with eyes and nose back on our glass marble, which is touching the tip of your nose here. Exhale, roll that glass marble under your chin as if you're trying to connect it to the circumference of your ball underneath you, dropping your forehead onto the mat, rounding over to come into that nice neck stretch. Keep the T-zone working. Inhale, roll the glass marble with the tip of your nose towards the edge of the mat line, gently peeling the forehead off the mat, coming into this lovely neutral spine placement. As you exhale, we're gliding the shoulder blades down the back, lengthening the sternum off the circumference of the ball as you draw the shoulder blades down into upper back extension. Keep looking down the tip of your nose. Don't be tempted to lift your chin. Inhale, we're slowly going to bring the sternum back to squash against the ball. Look into the mat, with eyes and nose. Touch your nose on your glass marble. Exhale, roll it under your chin. Round over your forehead onto the mat. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, we're rolling the glass marble towards the edge of the mat line. We're looking down the tip of the nose even as the forehead lifts into neutral. Exhale as we glide the shoulder blades down our back, lengthening the sternum onto the ball. Good, and then inhaling as we bring the weight of the sternum back onto the ball to squash it between the chest and the mat. Popping the nose on the glass marble, looking into the mat. Exhale, roll it under the chin. Round over the back of your neck, place your forehead down for a stretch. Last one, inhale. Really think about just floating the forehead lightly from the mat, looking down the tip of your nose. Exhaling, gliding the shoulder blades down to lengthen your sternum off the ball, coming into that lovely upper back extension. Inhaling, bringing the sternum back to squash the ball between the chest and the mat. Pop the nose on the glass marble. Exhale, roll it under the chin. and have a lovely opening of the back of the neck. And then you can soften your connection, the weight of yourself into the ball, and have a small rest. Slide your hands down, push yourself into that lovely child's pose if you need, rounding your back. We're going to move into a little bit of thoracic release to finish the class, the last 2 minutes. So come back to seated when you're ready. Now I've got a full ball. This is going to be a better release for me. If you want, you can minimize the release that you get by taking the air out, and you can also pop some pillows underneath your head if you don't want to move into that back extension position, which can be quite intimidating, particularly when your head's floating from the mat. That might be what you do to minimize your release. In this seated position with bent knees, I'm going to pop the ball into the upper back where I felt the back work that we've just done in prone series. So between the shoulder blades, just above the bra strap line. I'm going to keep this placement here as I gently, switching on my T-zone, roll myself down to rest the shoulders against the ball and the mat. I'm bringing my hands behind my head immediately, and I'm going to lengthen the back of my neck, place the weight of the skull in the hands, dropping the chin lightly to chest. I'm floating halfway over the ball. Now for some of you, if you're too far back, you'll feel that your rib and hip connection is opened, as it were. You've lost your obliques. Take a nice soft breath in, keeping that back of the neck lengthened, and on the exhale, gently sink the ribs towards the hips and feel yourself lightly curl up into this nice neutral spine position where you're halfway over your ball. You're going to switch on to your T-zone. We're going to do a little bit of ab curl 1. For those of you that are not curling, you could do your leg slide instead. Elbows wide. Good. Now with your switched on connection, on your next exhale, we're going to curl the ribs towards the hips, scooping out the abdominals as we gently peel the head further from the mat. You're not pushing your lumbar spine into the mat, so try not to tilt your pelvis back. As you inhale, you're gently going to come back halfway over the ball. Keep that light tug of chin to chest, the lengthening of the back of your neck. Exhale to curl ribs towards the hips to scoop the abdominals. Inhale to come back halfway. Good, let's do exhale to curl. And inhale halfway over the ball. Good, let's do 6 more. Exhale. And inhale. 5 left. Exhale. And inhale. Exhale to curl. Keep lengthening the back of your neck. Place the weight of the skull in your hands, elbows wide. Exhale to curl. Ribs want to sink in and down to scoop the belly out. Inhale to lower. Good, 2 more. Exhale. And inhale. Last one, curling, exhale. Now as you inhale to rock back, don't stop at halfway. Try to think about letting the back of your head search for the mat. Let your elbows drop wide and search for the corners of your mat. If your head touches down and your shoulders feel uncomfortable in this position, widen the arms from the chest to come back to that pendulum position. If you're happy and you like this feeling, you can keep the hands clasped behind your head. Now just breathe in and out into this release. Take a nice soft breath in and inflate the lungs fully out to the sides. Feel the chest expand and rise, and on the exhale, feel the chest sink in and down as you wrap your shoulders around your ball. Stay focused on your breath for 4 deep, long inhales and exhales. Feeling the chest expand and rise. The rib to hip connection stretching over the ball. The exhale as the ribs sink in and down and the shoulders swallowing the ball behind you. Good. Last 2 deep inhales and exhales. Last one. Now we're going to bring ourselves back into floating halfway over the ball. So bring your hands back behind your head, light tug of chin to chest to lengthen your neck, and then softly draw your ribs towards your hips to bring yourself floating halfway over the ball once more, elbows wide. Switching back onto the T-zone in this placement, we're going to curl up into ab curl 1 and hold it. Exhale to curl, sink the ribs towards the hips to scoop the abdominals, peeling the upper body further from the mat. Your rib to hip connection is strong, as well as the flattening or scooping feeling of your abdominals. Stay lifted. We're going to go into lift foot. Exhale to lift the foot from the mat. Inhale to place it down. Don't rock back. Exhale and inhale. Ribs to hip is strong. Flattened abdominals is really strong. Good. Elbows are wide. The light tuck of chin to chest is present, lengthening the back of your neck. For those of you that feel okay with this, turn it into your lift and extend. You could gently lower to 45 if you prefer. Bend the knee, inhale, place it down. Exhale, lift foot, extension and lower, keeping the scoop. Let's do 2 more on each side. Good. Stay connected to that rib and hip oblique connection, that scooped out abdominals, the lengthening of the back of your neck. Last one each side. Good. We're going to come back to the ab curl 1 position. Take a deep breath in. Gently lower yourself back once more. Don't stop at halfway. Let the back of the head search for the mat. The elbows widen and search for the mat. If you can, stick in this placement or come back to that pendulum position with the arms wide. Take a deep inhale and exhale, once again following the breath in to inflate the lungs fully out to the side, feeling the chest rise and expand. Exhale, the ribs sink in and down and you feel your shoulders melt over the ball. 4 long deep inhales and exhales to finish your class. Good, stay focused on the breath. Allow the chest to rise and expand, the back of your head searching for the mat. Letting the rib to hip connection stretch and then release. Good, last breath in and out here. Beautiful, we're going to bring the knees together to squeeze the inner thighs and feet together. We're going to roll onto the side, popping the ball out from behind the shoulders and then resting the back onto the mat to feel that lovely connection of the upper back on the mat once more. Beautiful. You can have a little rock of your hips side to side if you need. Let's squeeze the inner thighs, roll onto the side once more, push ourselves up. We're going to finish with a lovely QL stretch, which is your side bend in seated. Cross-legged, V-sit or bent knee V-sit, however you choose. Now in V-sit, you're going to get the most out of the stretch, particularly as we come into this external rotation of one knee out from the hip joint. You're going to place the sole of one foot onto the inside thigh of the outstretched or bent knee V-set leg. Sit tall and switch onto your T-zone. Try and keep your chest lifted over your hips. Now we're going to place one hand onto the opposite thigh, hip bone or knee, pushing the knee down to get this external rotation element of the hip. Keep that chest up, take a deep breath in. We're going to reach the arm up over the shoulder blade. Drawing the shoulder blade down, exhale, we're going to start to reach over the straight leg, pushing this knee down to get a nice side bend. Good, inhale, bring yourself on upright, shoulder blade down. Let's do that for 2. Exhale, opening up rib to hip on one side, the QL stretching at the back of the body. Inhale, let's do 1 more. Push this knee down as you exhale, reach over your straight leg, drawing your shoulder blade down to come into that lovely side stretch. Inhale, come upright. Good, place the arm down, let's change sides. Come into V-sit, place the inside sole of the foot on the inside of the thigh, or stick cross-legged if you prefer. Good, this hand can place on the hip bone or onto the knee if you're able to. Keep your chest upright. Good, take a deep breath in with the T-zone switched on, bring the arm over the shoulder. Pushing this knee down so we get that external rotation. We're going to exhale as we reach over the straight leg into side bend, getting this nice stretch on the side, shoulder blade down from the ear. Push this knee down. Good, inhale, bring the chest upright at the hips. 2 more. Exhale, into side bend, and inhale upright. Good, let's do that 1 more. Shoulder down, push this knee towards the mat. Exhale, stretch over the straight leg into side bend. Good, inhale upright. Good, let's place the arm down. From this position, I'm coming into 4-point kneeling box. You can come up in that lunge position if you choose. I'm coming up through downward dog. Hands are under the shoulders, switching onto the T-zone, drawing the shoulder blades from the ears, tucking the toes under. Take a deep breath in. On the exhale, we're going to lift through the abdominals to push through the ball of the foot to lift the knees, lifting the hips high. Pushing back towards the heels, trying to keep the hips lifted as much as possible, pushing through the palms, the shoulders, and the chest. Take a deep breath in and out here, or pedal through the feet if it suits you, bending the knees to release tension off of the calves. From this position, soften through the knees, inhale and exhale, scoop the belly as you walk the hands back towards the feet. Come into your forward fold, let yourself hang through the neck and the arms for a nice deep breath in. Exhale, we're going to scoop through the belly, start to push through the legs as we lift the vertebrae upright, tall, one at a time. Stacking upright, take a deep breath in at the top, relax the shoulders, float the sternum, and you're all finished. Beautiful. Well done. So that's a nice, lovely full body workout utilizing your chi ball. I hope you enjoyed this session, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.